A peaceful home turned into a scene of unimaginable tragedy. 3 lives were taken in a shocking, violent incident. The case left an entire community in disbelief. Nothing about that day suggested danger was coming. What followed became a deeply disturbing investigation. Before we begin the full story, this channel takes hours of research and careful verification to bring you real crime stories that matter. We invest in tools, software, and time to ensure every detail is accurate and meaningful. If you support this work, help us reach 1,000 subscribers this week. Subscribe, like, share. Now back to the story. The victims were Nancy Newman and her 2 daughters. Melissa was only 8 years old at the time. Angie was just 3 years old, full of innocence. All 3 shared a close and loving family bond. Their sudden loss shocked everyone who knew them. Nancy Newman was known as a caring and protective mother. She dedicated her life to raising her children safely. Friends described her as kind-hearted and responsible. She maintained strong family values in her daily life. Her home was considered warm and welcoming. Melissa, the elder daughter, was a cheerful school-going child. She was known for her playful and bright personality. Angie, the youngest, was just beginning her early childhood. She was described as affectionate and innocent. Both children were deeply loved by their family. The family lived a seemingly normal and peaceful life. There were no visible signs of danger or conflict. Neighbors often saw them as a happy household. Daily routines continued without any suspicion. This calm made the tragedy even more shocking. The investigation later identified Kirby Anthoney as the suspect. He was believed to be connected to the crime scene. Authorities began examining his involvement closely. His name became central to the investigation. Suspicion grew as evidence started pointing toward him. The motive behind the crime remained unclear initially. Investigators searched for possible personal or emotional triggers. There was confusion about why such violence occurred. The brutality suggested a highly disturbing intent. Every angle of the case was carefully examined. The discovery of the crime shocked law enforcement. Officers were faced with a devastating scene. The scale of the tragedy was immediately recognized. Emergency teams secured the area for investigation. The case quickly escalated seriously. Authorities began collecting evidence from the location. Every detail at the scene was carefully documented. Forensic teams worked to preserve critical findings. Initial observations helped guide the investigation forward. The process was handled with urgency and caution. Investigators started interviewing people close to the family. Neighbors and relatives were questioned for information. They tried to understand the final hours of the victims. Small details became important clues for detectives. A timeline of events was gradually built. Attention shifted towards individuals connected to the family. Kirby Anthony's link became a major focus. Investigators studied his background and movements. His presence raised serious questions in the case. Evidence collection intensified around his involvement. Witness statements were carefully compared and analyzed. Contradictions and confirmations were examined in detail. Investigators worked to validate each piece of information. Every statement contributed to building the case structure. Slowly, patterns began to emerge. The investigation revealed disturbing and troubling findings. The nature of the crime suggested strong intent. Authorities worked to connect all available evidence. Each discovery added clarity to the case. The direction of the investigation became more focused. The community struggled to understand what had happened. Fear and sadness spread among residents. The loss of children made the case more emotional. Support systems were arranged for grieving relatives. The impact was felt across the entire area. Law enforcement continued working tirelessly on the case. No lead or detail was ignored. Investigators reviewed every possible angle again. The priority was to establish clear accountability. The process required patience and precision. As evidence accumulated, suspicion became stronger. Kirby Anthoney remained central to the case narrative. Investigators worked to confirm his involvement. The findings began forming a clearer picture. Pressure increased to resolve the case. The emotional impact on investigators was significant. The involvement of young children made it difficult. Officers remained focused despite the distressing details. The case became deeply personal for many. Professional duty guided the investigation forward. Gradually, the case moved toward conclusions. Evidence and statements aligned with key findings. Investigators refined their understanding of events. The case structure became more complete. Confidence in the findings increased. Authorities finalized their interpretation of the evidence. Kirby Anthony was identified as responsible. The investigation reached its critical stage. All collected data supported the outcome. The case moved toward closure. The tragedy left a lasting emotional impact. 3 innocent lives were lost forever. Family and community grief continued for years. The case remained deeply remembered. Justice and memory became central themes. This case remains a reminder of sudden tragedy. Lives can change in an instant without warning. Justice was pursued through careful investigation. The memory of Nancy, Melissa, and Angie remains. Their story continues to be remembered with sorrow. If justice still matters to you, subscribe and stand with us, because silence helps criminals. Every story deserves to be heard. Every victim deserves justice. Stay aware, stay safe.